What's up, everyone? This is the Fraser Laveay podcast. Today we're talking travel. Travel pods have been doing real well, and this one I've held on to for some time. And after I've written some notes, I'm pretty sure this will be the best podcast I've ever done solo. So it is about overrated places to travel and where to go instead. Um, it doesn't mean I hate these places. Some of them, I definitely do hate them. Do not go there. But more is just you don't have a lot of time when traveling and you don't want to waste it. And you only get, 2 weeks of vacation a year. So don't go here and not have the greatest time when I'm going to let you know somewhere else. There's 10 to 12 places I didn't count. They're in no particular order. They're just spread around the world. So it's not just all focused in one place. And I don't want to become racist or sound racist. I'm sure I will, but that's not the goal. It is December 19th, 2025. I'm in Sayulita, Mexico. And that's pertinent for a few reasons. One, watching football, the Rams just lost to Seattle, which was the biggest Thursday night game into my fantasy football season. And I'm pissed, so I'm not watching football for the rest of the year. Trump just addressed the nation in a unique method. And he added plaques to his ballroom or somewhere in the White House that just talk shit about all the other presidents or a lot of them, which is something new. And he created a real life Hunger Games. So I'm just no pro Trump, against Trump. I'm just saying this is the things that happened. And I'm interested to see how they might shake out if you're listening to this a year down the road. I'm like, this is a message in a bottle. I'm throwing it. And I want you to think about this in the year if you're listening to this in 2026. There was just a shooting in Bondi Beach. Very sad. Condolences to everyone. I bring this up because again, in Mexico, my mom wanted to go to an event. She said, we're going to an event in a couple days. I said, whatever, sounds good. This is yesterday or the day before, or whatever it was. And then the morning before we go, she's like, oh, here's the event, and sends me it. And it's a Jewish holiday event in Sayulita, Mexico, which there's not a big Jewish population in Sayulita, Mexico. It would just be like if I was like, hey, I'm going to make a Canadian basketball celebration in Sayulita, Mexico. That was about the size of it. I'm not anti-Semitic. Don't put that on me. But anyways, I'm like, Mom, did you not realize this was a Jewish thing? She's like, no. I was like, do you watch the news? She's like, no, what are you talking about? I was like, well, Bondi Beach happened, Jewish celebration. She's like, well, that's not going to happen here. And I'm like, you know what? There's copycats. There's just a lot of places I wouldn't put myself the day after something happened. Like if it's September 11th, and she's like, hey, let's go to the Willis Tower, September 12th. Are these the ideas that she's going to have? I'm not laughing. If you're laughing, you're the bad person, not me. I'm just providing facts of my life right now. So this is not making light, like I said. I'm also drinking, I want you to be warned, Fixer in Mexico. I bought it because all they have is Monster and Red Bull for like a little pick-me-up drink. So I found this Fixer stuff, and it tastes like chemicals thrown in gasoline. Do not buy it. Whoever came up with this idea, I just read there's vitamins in it, which now that makes total sense. It just tastes like a Monster, and someone had this bright idea. Someone was like, hey, Fraser, let's add vitamins to a Monster. And made that in Mexico. I don't know why I did that voice. It's more of a cholo than anyone from Mexico. And maybe it's not even a cholo. So now I've been anti-Semitic, potentially, if you're judging that as anti-Semitic. It's not. Or racist. So off to a hot start. Don't listen to this with kids in the car. I mean, do, but just be prepared that guy go off on some tangents. Let's get into it. Overrated places. I have one last rant I want to get off my chest about traveling. The worst people in the world, not the worst in the world, but not great, are like avid travelers, avid hikers, and avid mountain bikers, all of which I am. But I'm in these Facebook groups and other groups of just people, and they've become such elitist douchebags. It's just like everyone's an expert. They never, like mountain bikers, I'm reading people curse out some beginner mountain bikers. I was like, that was you 5 years ago. What are you talking about? People don't know all the rules. People aren't trying to be assholes. They're just learning like we all learn. Or travelers who like I had a thing about going to Sayulita that went viral on TikTok, and people were like, don't go to Sayulita. all it is blah blah blah. It's taken over. Go to here, go here, and it's like blah, blah, and it's just they love to tell you that they've been there, and you should like be other places, which this podcast is kind of about, but it's less of an asshole. Just like they love to tell you they've been somewhere and you should go somewhere else, or people are taking over. Well, you know what? Like places like Sailita, it's not Puerto Vallarta, so Puerto Vallarta's America on the beach, where at least Sailita still has some charm, among with other places. But anyways, they're so annoying. The worst people in the world are hikers are the same, but Sedona locals in Sedona take the cake for this exact thing I'm talking about. They hate people coming to visit. They hate, they know everything. They're one with nature. And it's not every Sedona local. There's lots of lovely ones, but there's like a specific group, and you know exactly what I'm talking about if you've had any encounters. They just hate the people who've discovered Sedona and they like hiking and blah, blah, blah. Whereas you were just lucky. Like if you're white, your grandparents just settled there. You didn't, that's all you are. So don't be all like high and mighty, like, oh, this is get out of here and it's taken. No, stop. If you're Native American, fine. But you know, white people, you've killed off all the Native Americans. So, and I'm a registered Native American. So don't even come at me. But yeah, and then there's people who like say you're defacing Sedona by coming. They kick down the rock cairns, like those rock piles, which I get. Leave things as they are. That is a message. Uh, do not mess up ecosystems, pick up your garbage, pack in what you pack out, all that stuff. I get it. But they just take it to a whole new level. Meanwhile, the same people are rock climbing and putting like full holes into rock faces, but they kick down rock cairns because that's not how the world intended it. Just so you know, those rock cairns are made out of rocks that you're fucking up by putting holes in the side of a mountain face, and then all that crumbles because you put a fracture into a solid surface. So they're the worst. I'm sure you're also not complaining about your resale value of your home. Like I'm sure you're probably quite happy. Well, I'm sure the people complaining just rent and weren't smart enough to buy. People in San Diego aren't. Maybe they are complaining. I'm sure that people come visit the beaches, but if you live in a paradise or a great area, people are going to come visit it, and that's just we have a population problem, not a people are purposely going hiking in your area problem to make you upset. Anyways, that's my rant. I want people to get outside, so I'm going to tell them where to go in Sedona and secret places in XYZ because people are dying every second. 17 people just died right now, as I said that, much more. So I'd much rather we take advantage of this beautiful earth we have out there than complain about we've got too many people here or there or whatever. Let's get into it. I wasted too much time on these rants. I'm going to provide the most overrated places to travel and places you should go instead. The theme kind of is they are a little bit overrun and, for lack of a better term over Americanized or over Westernized. That's not the case in a lot of these as well, but you'll see. Number one, it's not number one. This is no order. The U.S. Virgin Islands. Um, I like to do adventures and stuff. The U.S. Virgin Islands is gorgeous. Don't get me wrong. It just was a place of a bunch of U.S. frat douchebags with boats. It seemed like you just took the worst people of Miami or New York and just put them on an island. It was just wealthy. There was no culture. It felt like all of the locals were just working for the right white man and like just had these blue collar jobs and not happy. It was such an odd place and beautiful. I still obviously enjoy it everywhere I went. But it was an it just seemed like it was a movie set and everyone was unhappy. And at some point, the locals were going to rise up and kill all the rich white assholes. Some of the conversations overheard and just, it was so bizarre. It reminded me like if, I don't know how to say this, like Epstein Island. It was like Epstein Island was a tourist location without, like if Epstein Island didn't exist, this would be it. Without any of the whatever went on bad, but just those seemed like those type of people all went there. Where was Epstein Island? Hold on, let me check real quick. No. Epstein Island is in the U.S. Virgin Islands. I rest my case. I'm the greatest travel person on earth to put this up. Anyways, that has to be bad for tourism, right? Like the U.S. Virgin Islands, come where the worst island on earth ever was. Where to go instead? Um, Puerto Rico. I love Puerto Rico, and you don't need a passport if you're a U.S. citizen because many people go to the Virgin Islands because they don't have a passport. You can still go to Puerto Rico. Awesome. There's some islands off of San Juan to check out, and there's a rainforest. Really, I just love San Juan, Puerto Rico. It's really cool. It's its own country where the U.S. Virgin Islands just seems like it's in the word, the U.S. Islands. Also ironic, U.S. Virgin Islands, and it's Epstein Island. Wow, this is a whole come to Jesus moment. It's probably not right to put Jesus in that, but here we are. St. Lucia. Also, I've never been, but I've seen and I've researched it to death. It's just kind of hard to get to. Looks like the most gorgeous. My friend Stone had a honeymoon there. Looks unreal. Adventures, beaches, everything. Go there instead. Speaking of Jesus, and I hope I don't get struck by lightning saying this, because the next on the list here for most overrated places to visit is the Vatican. It has to be absolutely not good to say out loud. The Vatican was cool. Don't get me wrong. Go at night if you're going to go, by the way. If you go also like for 6 months out of the year, it is the hottest place on earth. And you're walking, it's like hurry up and wait, hurry up and wait, hurry up. Like you're just in a queue, a very small queue, small line going through a bunch of rugs and paintings that all look the same after you go through the first 17 hours of them. And you're just kind of like, go, okay, cool, rugs. Cool. Oh, Sistine Chapel. Can't take pictures of it. It's unique. You're in history. And Rome is one of my favorite places on earth. Rome is the coolest city on earth. I'm not saying do not go to Rome. Rome is a must visit. It's one of the best cities to ever go to on earth. But like the Roman Forum is 17,000 times better than the Vatican. Unless you're really into art and, it tells a story of history. But like when you're in the Roman Forum, you feel like you're in history. It's like out of every movie or book you've ever read. It's enormous. Even just walking Rome is one of my favorite things I've ever done in my life. I've never had to lay in bed and put my feet up in the air after, like, I walked for 17 hours straight in Rome. And like you turn a corner and it's something enormous and gorgeous that you've never knew existed. I got off, told a story before, but I got off the subway or whatever they call it again, the train in Rome. I landed like in the area where I was staying, and I got off and I was just in this enormous, sorry, I'm running like a million of these ideas through my head, so every word is escaping me, but the centers where, anyways, the violins are playing and just giant architecture. It was stunning. So love Rome. The Vatican, just overrated. Just lines, and I even had to skip the line pass, but then you have to meet the people, and then you have to walk, and then you have to do this, and then it's a lot of walking slow in the summer, and even just be next to the summer months. It's hot as heck. I almost said HELL, but that would be third time's a charm for disparaging Jesus. So we're not going to do that. Still go to Rome though. Next, Cartagena. Some people say Cartagena. I forget one the locals say, which is much better accent than me. I think they say Cartagena. But anyways, Cartagena. I was so excited to go. The beaches are terrible. It's dirty. The islands are really the only reason to go. But the boat rides to the island is awful and very choppy and expensive. Everyone tries to rip you off. Every person I know who's gone to Cartagena has been ripped off at the islands where you go and you just drink and eat on the cool little tables. It's one of the most expectation and reality places on earth. Because obviously there's those cool tables where you're sitting in the water and eating and drinking, having it's a big party. It's cool while you're getting robbed. It's just, yeah, it's all the bad that you can think of Colombia all in one. There, of course, is its charm, the fort in the city that's surrounded by some cool restaurants. It still is a very cool city. Don't get me wrong. And even like getting ripped off, like the massage therapists are borderline like rapists. No, actually, that's terrible to say. They're like, you say no, and they're like still trying to give you a massage. You're like, no, 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 and they're like, no, it's free, it's free. And they're like, grab your feet. This tried to happen to me like 10 times. Where like, and the person I was with, where they would just not take no for an answer. They keep on grabbing your feet to massage you, and then they'd charge you $50, $100 after they're done. And you're like, no, stop. It's crazy. Everyone is that bad. It's the worst place for like when you think of Mexico and people offering you stuff on the beach. It's like, especially now in Mexico, they ask you once, they leave you alone. Didn't used to be like that 15 years ago. It is now. It's 17 times. It's insane. So just really did not like Cartagena, especially if you're going to travel all the way around the world or halfway around the world or halfway down the continent or all the way down the continent or up. Just for what it is, it's just not worth it, especially what you think it could be. Um, if you must go to Colombia, go to Medellin. Medellin is still, it's like you can stay in the nice areas, and there's still like just not great. It's just not. I love Medellin too. It's beautiful, one of the most beautiful cities on earth, I think. But still, it's go Medellin if you're going to go to Colombia. That's all I'm going to say. I would say skip Colombia altogether if you haven't done a ton of stuff yet, and absolutely go to Peru or Guatemala or Bolivia instead, especially if you love adventure. Um, so yeah, I just think Colombia is a stunning, but it's just a touch. It's just overrated. That's all this is. Just overrated places. Um, Next on the overrated places list, we're going to the Taj Mahal. Um, this one's ironic because you'd be like, no one in the history of the world has ever said, you know what? You know what's overrated? India. India's overrated. No one's ever said that. But I'm saying the Taj Mahal. Taj Mahal is a lot smaller than you think. I don't even know how the size to say it is, but I just pictured something enormous. It's obviously big, but it's just smaller than what I thought it would be. Like I've seen a lot of state houses in the US that are bigger, a lot of them. I don't know. It's I was expecting something bigger. To get there, it's 4 hours from New Delhi. Typically you do like a day trip. Obviously you could stay in Agra, which is not a bad idea, but if you're short on time, you just do a day trip. But that's 4 hours each way, walking around. And typically they want you to get there when it opens for less crowds. It opens, I forget, 6, 7 a.m. So you're leaving Delhi at like 2 a.m., which adds to the miserableness. So I would say if you do the Taj Mahal, stay a day in Agra, a night in Agra, so you don't have to do this miserable 2, 3 a.m. shitty. Obviously, you're driving through India, so you can imagine it's like, oh, I'm gonna have a nice little sleep. No. Yeah. Want to know where to go instead of the Taj Mahal? But the Agra Fort is just across the river or along the river in Agra, and it's where the king used to live. And it's like right out of Game of Thrones. There's a moat, there's a drawbridge, there's like a water system through the whole place where water drains in and like they reuse the water. It's just how they created this back then is incredible. And there's a bunch of rooms, and it's just like a true castle out of when castles were invented, clearly. And Agra, I'm sure a lot of you know, if you don't know, Agra was just a tomb where the emperor, king, whatever, he buried his first wife, and then he buried the rest of his wives, something like that. This isn't a story about the history of India. I'm just telling you overrated places. So you get what you get. All right. Next, on the most overrated place in the world, Tulum. A lot of people probably already know this. Tulum is terrible. It's beaches covered with seaweed for 4 months out of the year. The cost is outrageous. It reminds me of Las Vegas. If Las Vegas was without the gambling, but you replace gambling and that kind of stuff with the beach. But it's just like clubs now. It's not Mexico at all. When I went 20 years ago, it was, and I sound just like the people I hate, by the way. I get that. But when I went 20 years ago, it was less people. You go to cenote because there's tons of cenotes around Tulum, and there was 4 people at them, like 10 people at the max, and they cost $2, $5 to get into. now they're their own little resorts, taken over by people, and it's just a giant public swimming pool full of people. So it's just lost all of its charm, which, is what happens. But it's USA on the beach. The cost, dinner is as much as an expensive city in the United States. Still, obviously cool, but if you have to go, don't go. Go to a place like Oaxaca, or I love Sayulita. I stand on Sayulita being one of the best places on earth. I got, my video that went viral on Sayulita, and people are like, no, don't go there, go here, blah, blah, blah. It's this. The water is fine. They fixed the problem 2 years ago. Like, they added new piping and did this stuff. I have a 1-year-old who's been playing in the water for the last month. Completely fine. Knock on wood. Watch something will happen. It has everything. It's not overrun with Walmarts or resorts. All the resorts are in Sayulita, and the Walmarts and all that stuff are an hour away. Everywhere is cash. Not everywhere, but a lot of places are cash, which kind of sucks, but still great. Adds to its charm, even though that charm is just a negative crime thing, but it's fine. Great restaurants. It's a little noisy because there are a couple clubs, but only if you stay right in town. It's quiet when you get out of the main little hub. It's got everything. If you want something chill, just go to San Pancho, 10 minutes down the road, stay in San Pancho and come to Sayulita, or vice versa. Go for a day trip in San Pancho. So I love Sayulita, but so don't go to Tulum. Go to Oaxaca, go to Sayulita instead. Next on the list of overrated places, Fiji is one of the most overrated places on earth, unless you're a millionaire. Of course, Fiji, we have this idea of staying in those places that are above the water, and you've got your little hut. Unless you are using all of your money, don't go. If you're in North America, you might as well go to Hawaii. I have been to both, and I like Hawaii better. Even Hawaii is expensive in its own right. But I mean, I almost feel like Fiji is the Hawaii for people in New Zealand and Australia. So yeah, I would say don't waste your time if you're in North America going all the way to Fiji. Just go to Hawaii. It's just you have to take a ferry everywhere or a private plane. I took a private plane once. It wasn't too expensive, but it was still you had to. We took a private plane to get from one area to another. I stayed in 3 different resorts, and all 4 or 5-star resorts, and each one the beach. Like, I just think Fiji has to have these long, perfect beaches. No, like, one was rocky, one didn't really have a beach, and another one was just like really thin. And these are nice resorts, like gorgeous resorts. And then you're kind of stuck to what's on these little islands. So if you want to go anywhere, you then have to take the shuttle bus, which goes stop by stop on all the islands. And a lot of the islands aren't that great. They're just, they're cool little islands, but then you're just stuck on these islands. And I don't know, you want to do some adventure, you want to see some stuff, you want to see some culture. Not happening. So that's Fiji. Instead of Fiji, like I said, Hawaii, if you haven't never been, Kauai is out beautiful. It's cheaper than Fiji somehow, I think. It's still expensive. Palawan in the Philippines, going a different area, but if you just want same feel, go there, but with more, I would say, more culture. Fiji has culture, don't get me wrong, like the main island, and there's also, I forget the name of the island that has all the fun adventure stuff. Sorry, I'm listing these off. This is an hour-long podcast. If you're watching a clip on it, I can't remember everything. So there is culture in Fiji and all that. But if you're going to be a tourist, it's hard to combine both. Where, like, if you went to Guatemala or Peru or Palawan in the Philippines, you're able to combine culture with the fun travel experience. Where I feel like Fiji, you're either kind of like on an island and not experiencing culture, or does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. The Cook Islands, another place to go. Samoa. Well, talking Palawan for overrated places. Oh, sorry, Palawan. Well, talking about Palawan and talking about Fiji for an overrated places. We're gonna throw Bali in there. Bali is just still cool, still go to, but go to Palawan instead, or Lombok in Indonesia, which is, I think, great. They're all kind of nearby in those Indonesian islands, or Vietnam. I'll get to Vietnam again more, but yeah, skip Fiji, skip Bali, go to those places instead. Next on the most overrated places on earth, Tamarindo. Costa Rica is one of the worst places on earth. I'm sorry. I live 2 hours down the road, 3 hours down the road, go to Nosara and Samara, which I lived in one, lived in the other. Quaint little towns. Tamarindo is just, I don't know how to explain it. The beach sucks. You can go to some nice beaches north and south, but then why go to Tamarindo? If you really want, and I even say, and I live in Samara and Nosara, which are gorgeous, but they're just quaint beach towns. I wouldn't even go there. If you're going to Costa Rica for the first time, go to Manuel Antonio, which is down south. It is a beach town, but there's so much adventure to do. There's waterfalls, there's whitewater rafting close, or just a lot more rainforest to go through. There's so much more to see. And there's also the Arenal volcano, which is in the middle of the country. I always say combine Manuel Antonio with La Fortuna, which is the Arenal volcano, in one, because there's so much adventure. I mean, if you're going to Costa Rica for a beach, don't do it. The beaches are beautiful. Don't get me wrong. It's just twice the price of Mexico, Guatemala, Peru. It's the most expensive Latin American country, at least Central American country by far. So I wouldn't just go all the way to Costa Rica for a beach, is all I'm saying. Go for the adventure. That's what makes Costa Rica beautiful. That makes Costa Rica one of the best places to visit on earth. Is not for you to go just plunk on a beach in Tamarindo, and a shitty beach at that. It's to go visit all the adventure tourism. It's the birthplace of ecotourism. And so I really push you to go do that. You know, the hot springs and just a million other places to go than the beach. Even though I love where I live is gorgeous and perfect in Nosara. Same thing with Samara, more quaint area, perfect, beautiful. A beach is a beach-ish. Go experience the rest of Costa Rica. Don't go there. Next, on the most overrated places in the world, Barcelona. If you're Spanish, you call it Barcelona. I guess Spain Spanish. I don't know if people in Mexico call it Barcelona. I don't think they do. Barcelona, well, I would live there. I'm telling you, like, I would absolutely live there. But if you're traveling and you want to see something more unique, I just felt like Barcelona was a more historic Los Angeles in Spanish. Like you just replace them with and just add Spanish, which I mean, LA is basically half Mexican, anyways. More historic. There's more unique architecture, pretty architecture, definitely, and but it just didn't have. I'd much rather go to Rome or Paris. A lot of other places I'd rather go to than Barcelona. Still visit it. If you've been to Europe before, of course, go. But if you only you're doing a Euro trip and you've only got a couple of weeks, I would say skip Barcelona and go elsewhere. Like I said, the other places, even Greece, which we're going to get to that, where in Greece, because I don't want to ruin one of the next overrated places. So yeah, still like Barcelona. Don't hate me. And like I said, I may end up living there at some point. I think it's great to live. I just wouldn't. I already said it. Don't. If you only have 2 weeks and you've never been to Europe, skip Barcelona. Most overrated places on earth. Aspen. You've watched Dumb and Dumber. If you haven't, you're born in the 2000s. What once was the greatest comedy of all time still probably is the greatest comedy of all time, but you can't watch it now because the joke, the humor is not funny anymore. We've all wanted to go to Aspen. I went to the X Games, for the X Games. I had one of the greatest weeks of my entire life. Not hyperbole, one of the greatest weeks of my entire life. But I wasn't paying for it. I was there for like a work play type thing, all paid for by a company. So I had a ton of fun. If I was paying for it, I would probably could not afford the things I did. But yeah, it's so hard to get to. I should have this info. It was like 5 hours from Denver or something like that, right? And so I mean, you have to land in Denver, and then let's say you flown 3, 5, 7 you leave your house to the airport. You leave what 2, 3 hours early, and then you have to land. Then you get your bags, and then you have to get a shuttle. So I mean, you might as well just go to Costa Rica at this point. This is the same door-to-door travel time. So this part to get to is so costly. It's yeah, a lot of just rich people you don't really want to be around anyways. I mean, there's still fun rich people, but you know what I'm saying. I'd much rather go to Lake Tahoe, Big Bear, California, Vail, Breckenridge, British Columbia. I mean, at that point, if you're going, like I said, it's a long shuttle. Obviously, you can fly into Aspen, but that adds another giant cost. So if you're rich, go ahead, knock your socks off. I'm sure you love it. Still is cool. But from door to door, you might as well go to like Whistler in British Columbia or Big White or Tremblant in Montreal, and you get to go to another country versus the time it takes to get to Aspen and the cost. Also, if you're American, then the US dollar does way better in Canada. Everyone may hate you there under this climate right now, but whatever. They won't hate you. Everyone loves everyone. Just be nice. And most Americans are nice. So more, never mind. We won't get into it. But I love Lake Tahoe. I love Big Bear, Vail, all options easier to get to than Aspen. Next most overrated places on earth, Sydney, Australia. And again, it's not, it's overrated, but it's not underrated. It's nicely rated. I'm only saying it in this podcast because go to Auckland, New Zealand instead. Sydney is nice. It's on the water. It's got some nice beaches. We talked about, leave that alone, Fraser. Auckland just has so much stuff to do. I mean, there's an island winery off the coast that's easy to get to. There's a Waikatari Ranges, which are like these cool hikes, and then like a black sand beach. And there's just so much cool stuff to do around Auckland. Adventure things where Sydney is it's a big city, surrounded in water, beautiful. The Opera House, it's got all that stuff. Again, it's got no real culture. And not like Auckland has a lot of culture, but it's just got more adventure, I guess, where Sydney is just a big city surrounded in water. Again, kind of like, to use my LA Barcelona example, it's even got obviously way less culture in Barcelona. So it's LA, but the Australia version. So don't hate me, people from Sydney, Australia. I still think it's an awesome city. I think the country is amazing. You go up the coast. It's a fun little travel spot. But I'm just saying, if you had to pick one or the other, go to Auckland instead. And there's just a lot of really cool stuff in New Zealand and close to Auckland. I mean, within a few hours, you can see so much, which I mean, you can in Sydney-ish, but I'd say Auckland has more in a closer range. Next, most overrated places on earth to travel to: Phuket, Thailand, or really anything Thailand in general. It is, again, I'm going to sound like the asshole I said not to sound like at the start of this podcast, but it's just overrun and go somewhere else instead. It's just gotten dirty and over westernized. There's no real charm anymore. I'm just saying Phuket and some other places like that, Koh Phi, Koh Phangan. Obviously, you can go to like Chiang Mai in the north, or there's plenty of small places to go to, and there's still charm in Thailand. So don't hate me, Thai people. I'm not who you're at war with right now. Speaking of current events. So where to go instead? Hanoi in Vietnam, just Vietnam in general, but Hanoi in Vietnam is a great liftoff point because you can go to Halong Bay and do a few nights out there in that bay, which is gorgeous. Is Sapa, which you can take a full sleeper bus for like $30 up to Sapa, which is this mountain town that seems like you're in Switzerland and is an absolute must visit. So definitely go there. But then when you're in Vietnam, down the coast, Hoi An is there, which is a great little spot, and Da Nang, as well as Nha Trang. So there's multiple others, but those are some great tourist spots that still have charm and not overrun with Americans and drunks and everyone else. I was going to say Indians because like there's this big thing about people from India overrunning Thailand and just blah, blah, blah. And I thought that would sound racist, but then I just said Americans are overrunning. So is that racist towards Americans? I think it's something to think about, isn't it? Ho Chi Minh City, also known as Saigon, is also a cool little replacement for Bangkok. Bangkok, you still kind of have to go to because it's one of one. It's just chaos. Ho Chi Minh City is actually more chaos. Never mind. I take that back. If you've ever been to Ho Chi Minh City, you know exactly what I'm talking about. There's this road that you cannot cross. You will die. I mean, you end up crossing it, but it is the most chaotic road in the world. I would like to know if there's more chaotic roads. I've seen a couple people post stories of this and they mentioned the same thing about it. They post stories on Instagram and they said my same kind of caption. I was like, okay, I'm not alone because it is, if you know, you know. But yeah, and Ho Chi Minh City has a lot of really unique, war history stuff. Even Da Nang has a Vietnam War museum, and it's all, or was it Ho Chi Minh City? I think they both have it, but it was Da Nang the one I went to for this story. It was all anti-American. It was like, here is like pieces of shrapnel from all the kids you killed, and here's pictures of like babies you set on fire. It's one of those things where whoever wins history tells about it, or wherever you are tells the history. So Vietnam just, I've never seen anything like it. It was completely anti-American, very unique, very interesting. Um, Also, Laos is really cool. So check out Laos if you've never been, as another replacement to Thailand. We've got a few places left. One near and dear to my heart. I lived there for 20 years. The most overrated place on earth to visit, Scottsdale, Arizona. I'm sorry, friends. A lot of my friends already know this, so I'm not sorry. I'm sorry, business owners, places I frequented, people that hooked me up. It's over. It priced itself out. It used to be the place you went instead of Vegas, because Las Vegas I had on this list of most overrated places. Whether you've ever listened to this podcast, I've beat Las Vegas to death on it being most overrated for the exact same reasons. But I always told people to go to Scottsdale because instead of Las Vegas for your bachelorette parties, it was half the price or a quarter of the price. There's also nothing to do in Vegas, but just resorts, hotels, all the stuff that you just do in Vegas, parties. Or at least Scottsdale, you can golf. You can golf in Vegas too, but like, it just sprawls out there for golfing. There's hiking. There's a river you can float down. There's a lot more nature and just fun. Just stroll down Old Town and go to a coffee shop versus kind of stuck in Caesar's Palace or at MGM Grand. So you can kind of unwind a little bit versus be like this high strung weekend. There's Buffalo Chip, which now is completely overrun. I made Buffalo Chip famous. I don't care. I used to have a famous blog, then AI took over, and now it is not. Blogs are now defunct for the most part, and now I start this podcast. But Buffalo Chip has 1 million people at you. I've been there in the fall and like during high season, and you can't move. It is insane. And that's just Scottsdale in a nutshell. A lot of the clubs now are not nearly as busy as they used to be. They're just turning over. The old faithfuls are always going to be there. The Bottle Blonde, the El Jefe. El Jefe is the greatest test of time. How? I have no idea. It's just chaos. I'm far too old to step foot in there. The music is just wah, wah. It's not even like club wah, wah. It's just intense, but test of time. It's like the longest standing Old Town club, which is remarkable. New ones pop in and out all the time. Maya has been a new facelift all the time. Still, fun place to go to. The W, if you want $25 for a drink, go there. It's just costly. $20 for a vodka soda, $17 for a high noon. Everyone starts going to dive bars now. Like, they just, Old Town priced itself out, and the whole city. I mean, it's just gotten to, used to be able to go to the Phoenix Open and have a good time for $100. Now you got to spend at least $500. And the people, they're just like, none of my people I know. So I'm not talking about you if you're listening to this. Unless I don't know you, then I am talking about you. But it's basically like they're the people that aren't rich enough to live in the nice places in California. So they go to Scottsdale. They're like a little fish, a big fish in a little pond. They're like the world's tallest dwarf, like the poorest rich person in America, the weakest strongman in the circus. And they're all douchebags because like rich people I know, they don't talk about being rich. They just are, because they've got like that confidence that they're actually real, like rich money. And not all of them, but most. We're the ones in Scottsdale just like have leased cars and the plastic surgery capital of the world. I feel like you think maybe it's LA or other places. I think it has to be Scottsdale, and like like everyone is fillers, Botox, plastic surgery. It's gotten really sad. I feel bad. I didn't want to raise my child there. We'll say it. Let's have it out. I had an opportunity to have my child in Phoenix, and I chose Costa Rica. Me and his mom had a big conversation, like where should we go. She was down to go wherever. I could have had him in Scottsdale and he'd be an American citizen, and that'd be easy for me and her to be American citizens. But we thought, this wasn't for me. We'll see if that turns out okay. Yeah, there's some insight into my life if you listen to this long. 2 places left. Only really one. 1.5. Athens, Greece is one of the most overrated places to visit in the world. It is the armpit of Europe. Many call it. Not many people from Athens. Many people. It's a serious shithole. Um, it is so gross. You picture Athens and you in your head you just think history. Like I guess Rome essentially. Like even though they're two different countries, I just picture this. I picture what Rome is. I thought that's what Athens would be. We're really they've got like a couple really nice old ruins and some nice areas. Every city on earth has nice areas, but everyone smokes. The food's okay. Just feels dangerous and dirty. It's very dirty. It's enormous. Athens and Mexico City have to be. I don't know the answer, but like they seem like the most sprawling, largest places on earth. And yeah, of course, everywhere can be nice. I'm not saying if you live there, it sucks. I'm just saying if you have to travel somewhere and you have a limited amount of travel time, do not go to Athens. I'm sorry, I called it a shithole. I meant it like a nice shithole if you're traveling, not if you live there. People of Athens, I'm sorry. A little bonus one is Santorini, also overrated. Go instead, Greece, by the way. I love you, Greece. Go instead to the island of Crete. Hania is gorgeous. It's out of a storybook. That whole island of Crete has so many different places to visit. I loved it. So definitely check that out versus a Santorini or definitely not Athens. Some people, you have to go to Athens just for a little segue before you go anywhere else in Crete or Greece, but then it's fine. Where to go instead? I think I mentioned it. Rome. I also really love Belgium. Belgium's really cool if you've never been. Bruges is so underrated. It's not enormous, so I guess you don't spend too long there, but it's really cool. And then you can obviously take, you can be in Belgium and you can be to Brussels or the other one's escaping me that you have to visit as well very quickly. And so those are just some options, but all of Europe is your oyster. So go wherever. I just say that don't visit Athens because it's not going to be what you think it is. Also go to Paris. So I'm going to end this on a positive. Paris, in this most overrated places to visit, not on the list. I just want to shout that out. It's like the reverse. I got people saying Paris is terrible. You just go there for 2 or 3 days, blah, blah, blah. No, not the case. I think it's such a cool melting pot. I was also there during the Olympics, but there's so much, it's just a cool place to live. So like I stayed there, but we weren't going and like, oh, we have to go here. We have to go to Notre Dame. Oh, we have to go here and just like check every place on the list. It was more, let's just go there for a couple weeks or however long we are there and just, go to the markets and eat fresh bread and go have a drink on the tables on the side of the road. And even though French food sucks, can we say that? It's very odd. I mean, the mussels are good, or the escargot, sorry, but French food really is bad for. I would think French food would have to be incredible food, but then you think like if you were right now, let's say you're in the US, like what is French food? Exactly. I've been there. I don't even know what French food is. Um, it's not good. The wine though, the wine's exceptional. I could drink that all day. I could drink any wine all day, but the wine, delightful. But while the French food sucks, let me end on the positive. The food in Paris is immaculate. It's one of the biggest melting pots in the world. So there's just on the streets, there's African food from XYZ culture. There is an Asian food. There's Ecuadorian food. There's 10 different countries of foods you've never heard of or visited, like there, and you just go try it. I've never eaten true African food before, and it was just an African restaurant. I forget which country it was, sorry. But I could have said Ivory Coast and lied to you, but I won't. But anyways, it was really cool because you were just in this melting pot of cultures and so much different food to try. And walking the city is very bikeable, so they have like this amazing biking system through town. So it's actually quicker to bike everywhere, and it's awesome. I mean, just rent a bike and bike hop, kind of like Rome. Nothing like Rome, but like Rome, where you turn a corner, you're like, oh my god, that's so pretty. Same thing with Paris. You get on a bike and you just go and you're like, wow, I've never heard of this. There's a million different neighborhoods. I'm about to say I almost said accoutrements, but aerodismonts. I screwed it up. Like I said, I've done this podcast now for 45 minutes. I'm going to forget something, and I forgot how to say the neighborhoods in France. But I think that's it. Overrated places in the world and where to go instead. Fraser Laveay podcast. I've got a ton of cities to visit. Most recently, there's been a lot of sports podcasts, but if you just go in and to the start or search this podcast for places to visit, I've got kind of guides for everywhere. Check it out. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Follow me on Instagram, Fraser Laveay. Follow me on TikTok. Hope you enjoyed it. I hope I didn't offend more than 3 cultures. See you later.